Here we are with episode 4 of Why Is Your Podcast on a Dead Girl's Phone. My name is Niles, and I am so excited for this episode. Today's guest is Deborah Levin, who played Sarah Gordon, Agent Pollock, Asher's killer on season 6 of How to Get Away with Murder. We talk everything from growing up in Ohio, not California. The website gave me the wrong information, so I'm not taking this as an error on my part. So my track record is still good with my research, as you'll find out at the beginning of this video. But yeah, we talk everything from her time on Star Trek Voyager to, of course, Agent Pollock on How to Get Away with Murder. And yeah, this was such an amazing conversation. She has so many amazing stories and behind the scenes stuff that you guys are really gonna love, that I'm still freaking out about. But yeah, episode 4, and I will see you guys next week for 5. And thank you for all the support and everything so much for the first 3 episodes. It has been a blast, and I never thought I could pull it off, but I think I'm doing a good job so far. And yeah, I'm just really proud of the first 3 episodes, and I'm definitely proud of this one. Deborah is phenomenal, and thank you again, Deborah, for coming on. And yeah, here we go, episode 4. Okay, first off, thank you for coming to be
Thank you for
episode
inviting
4.
me, Niles.
Oh man, I kind of wanted to start with you being born and raised in Fremont, California. How did you know that you wanted to be an actress?
I feel horrible saying this to you. That's wrong.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I
Oh
feel
my
terrible.
God. I just got.
I'm from Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh, where did I read that at?
I don't know, but I'd be curious to know. There's
I
some
think it was
lies out
on
there.
a casting website. Oh my God.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, thanks for letting me know. No, I'm from Cleveland, my friend. I'm a
Dang.
huge Cleveland Indians fan, born and bred in the Midwest.
And I just got praised on my research by Daniel.
Oh, I know. I saw that. That was.
Oh no, we can forget that.
Well, we could cut and start here. Hi, Niles. How are you?
Hi, Deborah.
Hi.
How's Ohio?
Right.
Oh man.
But I can still answer your question.
Yes, please.
I'm not positive. I don't know the answer, actually, what made me want to be an actress. But I always knew I wanted to be one, as far as I can remember. And in fact, here's a cute story. I take responsibility for introducing my mom to my stepdad, because when I was very little, my mom was going through a divorce and I wanted to be an actress, and a local theater was offering some children's classes, and she took me. I was 7, and she said, she looked down on the stage and she said, "Who's that?" And long story short, they ended up getting married, and we're married for 46 years. And I did my first play when I was 7 at that theater, and then I did local work in Cleveland, and eventually came out to LA. I don't know why I wanted to be an actress. I don't know.
Dang, Cleveland is no. I need to find out where I got that information.
Yeah, let me know later. We're gonna have to reach out to those people.
Oh man! And did you have any big role models growing up, or other actresses or anything that you looked up to?
You know, all I can tell you is that since I was a very little girl, my favorite actor is Jimmy Cagney. Oh, and I know that's not an actress, but I just have always, I am like the world's biggest Cagney fan. And I have to tell you, and I thought about this too, we might talk about this later, but like at the Star Trek convention, which I did my convention, I think of what a fan you are, and I think about, you know, all the Trekkies that I met there. And my thing is like Warner Brothers 30s and 40s movies. And so even if I don't completely relate to a Trekkie or someone who's really, really, really into something that I'm not, I do completely relate to this passion, love, obsession. I don't know. And I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but I did think of Cagney when I dropped the poker.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Get out.
Yeah, anyhow, we'll get to that later. But no, he's always been my favorite actor. And I think he's just very real, very believable, and yet versatile.
The fire poker. Damn. Oh man, I need to go. I want to go to a Star Trek convention so bad.
That was very, very, very fun. And you know what? Could we segue into Anthony Rapp for a second?
Period. Yes. Yeah, we can.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I saw on one of these podcasts that you love Rent, and of course
Mhm.
I reached out to you and I wanted to give you some scoop, and I was like, oh, this is stuff you can't find on IMDb. That Anthony and I were in. It was actually a CBS Universal pilot many years ago. It was a sitcom that didn't get picked up, and I told you that I played Tony LoBianco's daughter, and he ended up being Tony LoBianco's stepson, and it was a lot of fun. And he and I have stayed in touch on and off since then. And of course, I got to see him at the Star Trek convention because, of course, he's on Discovery, and I did 3 episodes of Voyager. Anyway, you shared with your fans how much, well, first of all, your tattoo, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Can you see it? Yeah. So, and that is
From Seasons of Love from Rent, How Many Minutes Are in a Year, and my best friend Sarah and I met over me borrowing her Rent DVD in high school, and that's like how we first started talking, and me and her got matching tattoos. Yeah.
Okay. So I go ahead.
Oh, I was zooming up hardcore on that picture when you sent me, like, just my eyes were starting to hurt. And then you're like, the little boy, two people down with the pizza. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, when you said that, I could see in his face that it.
Well, since you're such a huge fan and you got that in his writing and everything, I reached out to him to tell him I was so excited that I was going to do this podcast with you. Yes, I did. And I said, Anthony, like, how cool is this? Because he loves How to Get Away with Murder, but he loves Rent. And he asked me if I could tell you something.
Oh, Deborah, yes,
so
please.
This is what it is. He sent me back. Please give him my very best wishes for his health and safety in these challenging times. And please thank him for his support.
Hey, Deborah.
Anthony, to you.
Deborah, you are a miracle worker. Oh my God. That's amazing. That's amazing.
He's very sweet.
Oh man. Thank you.
Oof. You're welcome.
Sarah? I had to show my friend Sarah that, or let her, she'll listen to it. Damn. Thank you. Thank you. I was going to bring up, I have it on my post-it, Anthony Rapp. Damn. That is cool that you guys worked in that pilot that never came about, but then both were in the Star Trek family and then all the conventions still.
Yeah. I mean, I've only done one. That was my first one. But it was a really fun pilot too. We got to rehearse for a week on the Ed Sullivan stage in New York. And I always wonder what would have happened if that pilot got picked up. But it was a very, very, very fun job.
And how many Star Trek conventions have you been to? Just once?
I've only been to one. It was my first one, and it was the last one because last year there was no convention. And it was a blast. It was so much fun. I mean, I know you can appreciate being a passionate fan. I have to say that the kind of stereotypical, oh, Trekkie fans are nuts kind of thing, 99.9% of the fans who came up to my table were just lovely, passionate people like you who just love the show and are very intelligent and want to share, this is why I love it, and this is what I think is so cool, and, ask a couple questions. I was very hesitant to do the convention for many years because I felt very weird about the notion of selling my autograph, because I've had a lot of fans over the years find contact information like through my agents and send me stuff. They've made, my character's name was Ensign Lang on Voyager, like little baseball cards of Ensign Lang. Would you mind signing this? And this is where I live. And I'm thrilled. Like, wow, you enjoyed it that much? Of course. So I was hesitant to do a convention, but I will tell you, back to Cagney and Warner Brothers and whatnot, friends said to me, look, imagine if you, of course I couldn't because I can't go back in time, but if you had an opportunity to go and meet all of these actors who were, and producers and writers and directors who were part of that time, who you're passionate about, and you knew going in, it would cost X amount of money for an autograph or a photo, and you wanted to do that, and it was going to bring you a lot of joy, wouldn't you do it? And I said, oh, hell yes, I would do that. And they said, well, that's how you have to think about it. And you will bring people joy. You know, and I think, I will. And they say, yeah, absolutely. People will seek you out because it's your first convention. So I say all that to say it is, without getting too mushy, it's a very warm, giving, lovely atmosphere. People are happy. You know, like how happy, you are when you meet the people you want to meet. And yes, all in one place, and all these fun events and drinks and cocktails and food and events and shows. And I really, really think you should go when you can and when it's safe. And I think you'll love it. Maybe you should go with Sarah. Does she like Star Trek?
She will after. Yeah, I hope so. I only recently got like into Star Trek from like the newest Chris Pine movies with what is his name? The guy from Heroes. Zachary Quinto, yeah. Yeah. And then Discovery started and I saw Anthony Rapp was in it, so then
that's it.
Oof, Star Trek Discovery. Oh, it's so good. Yeah. Hopefully I can go to one of the conventions and stop by your booth and swing by Anthony's. Oh my god. Yeah, like it's crazy like how much like one autograph picture or a selfie with someone like means a lot to like can mean to someone for so long, like, so it's awesome that you go to the conventions and stuff.
Oh, thanks. Well, I've been to one, and yes, and again, and as a fan, I feel the same way. That's just such a lovely thing about the arts, and something that, I mean, I've certainly missed during the pandemic, but have appreciated because I can still, you know, watch TV, watch movies, watch these things that are, as you know, very, very, very enriching to the soul.
Oh man, okay, Anthony Rapp, MVP. And then back to like growing up, you earned your BFA in theater at the University of Southern California. I hope that's right. No?
I'm just kidding. Yes, that's right. Stop it.
I was gonna, no. Okay, thank God.
Yes, I did go to USC.
Oh man. Did you have any challenges throughout college?
You know, I was very, very lucky to have studied a lot well before college. So I had a very high bar, I think. By then I had worked in a lot of theater in Cleveland, and I had studied at the Cleveland Playhouse, which is the oldest rep theater in the country. And I had been to, I don't know if you've ever heard of Interlochen in Upper Michigan. There's an arts academy and a camp, and I studied drama there for 2 summers. And you have to audition to get in, and, you know, really, really, really talented people. So I had felt like I was challenged a lot. And at that time, and USC might be completely different now, I certainly had a very fun time as far as the college aspect of it. I didn't feel that the theater department was quite as challenging as a lot of the other experience I was lucky enough to have, but I wanted to be in LA and I wanted to get an agent. And I actually moved out to LA just a couple days before my senior year of high school. And I was in the same school system in Cleveland from kindergarten through the end of my junior year. But I really knew I wanted to be an actress, and I knew I wanted to go to college somewhere in LA. Just to kind of get acclimated a year earlier was A-okay. And it worked out. I moved out here with my family, and I got an agent, and I, you know, got into SAG and started working, and the rest is history.
Damn, that's amazing. Right after high school. Oof, damn, that's a lot of
work.
I
did a lot growing up. I mean, in Cleveland, I worked at a lot of theaters, whether it was as an actress or crew or sewing costumes, sweeping the stage, just being around, learning things, doing local TV, everything I could, you know, to learn and see and experience and grow and observe. So by the time I came out to California, you know, it wasn't like a lot of people just head out and say like, oh, I want to be a star. You know, I mean, I've never wanted to be a star. I've always wanted to be able to work in an industry that's very, very, very difficult to work in. And, you know, maybe along the way, if I get to do things that mean a lot to people, that's amazing.
Cherry on top, yeah.
Yes.
And then your first credited work was Children at Times Square.
Children of Times Square, yeah.
How did that?
Movie of the week. I had an audition, and it's funny because, you know, at that time there were a lot of runaway kids all over New York, and there was a movie of the week about it. And I actually auditioned to be a child prostitute, and I got it. And it's so funny because this is like typical Hollywood. It must have been before I actually worked, but my agents got word from production that they were keeping me, but they were recasting me. And I was in a scene with Joanna Cassidy. I worked at a bus station where her son had come to get a bus ticket from the small town they lived in and take off to New York. And she was coming. There was a small scene with his picture and hoping that I had never seen him. And I was telling her, no, I remember him specifically. And it was just this very like sensitive little thing, had nothing to do with the audition. Which, and again, I don't want to get ahead of you, but I will say that it reminds me, this is kind of a fun fact. I don't think I've ever played someone bad on TV. Like I always am cast in just warm, kind, friendly, loving, sweet, upbeat roles. And I'm pretty sure that this is my first bad person, and I'm a murderer. I went right to like really bad.
Right. That was one of my questions, yeah, because in your other projects, it's always like bubble. Yeah, I was going to ask about that villain role.
Yes, you know, looking back, I do think that something that worked well for me, and I hope we'll all get into this with you because I'd love to hear your take on some of these things. But you know, when I first show up at Annalise's door, you know, there's got to be some payoff to the reveal of like, wait, she's bad.
Right.
And so I think maybe that just sort of like deer in the headlights innocence helped me just help me get a role that led to eventually what it was. So in a way, it was still the old thing, you know, being nice.
And then later on,
And then later on, even though maybe like in that, just even in that episode, you see some things amiss. My best friend Scotty was asking me, like, when I was at the door, since I had already, you know, I had read at least that whole script, and I knew that when I was talking to my, we'll call him my bad boss, right, at the end when I'm on the phone, that something, you know, that I'm not on the up and up at Annalise's door. And he said to me, so were you playing that, like you're kind of putting that on there? Do you know what I mean? And I said, no, I wasn't, because I feel like in that moment, now at the time, I thought I was Sarah Gordon. And I felt like in that moment, Sarah Gordon would have been 100% just being as honest as possible. And that's how I did it.
Damn, I like it. Through the eye hole. Is this the text?
Through the eye hole. And you know, if you know about how things are shot, I'll tell you, when I was driving to work that day, that was the first thing that I shot on the show. I ended up doing 5 episodes. That was my first scene. And that was the first scene that I auditioned. And the audition script did not say Annalise.
Oh.
I didn't know I was reading. I didn't know it was Annalise and Sarah. Also, at that time, there was no Sarah. My name was Jane. So Jane. I think that day they changed it to Sarah. And it wasn't Jane Gordon. I don't remember the last name. Anyway, as I was driving in, I was thinking two things. One, oh my God, I'm going to work with Viola Davis.
Okay.
And two, but maybe I'm not, because the way the scene is written, she's inside and I'm in the hallway, and there's not a shot of both of us. And it's very, very, very possible that they could shoot us on separate days.
Oof.
I didn't know, because, you know, like almost every time, even on Murder, when you see someone on the phone, like, okay, take that episode, Viola's on the phone, someone's standing there on the set in that scene. Remember, she's on the phone?
To that Robert guy, yeah.
And someone's just reading his lines. He's not there. And later, when I'm on the phone with walking across the street, there's, you know, someone standing there reading the other lines.
It's so cool.
Yeah. So it's cool, but it's easier and it's more fun when you're working with someone else, because you're working with an actor instead of someone who's just trying to be a good actor.
Bouncing off their energy. Yeah.
Yes. And I just didn't know for sure. I knew it was possible, like depending on her schedule, that they might shoot her stuff and shoot my stuff separately. That is not what happened.
Hey.
We worked together for a good part of the afternoon working on that scene.
Did you open the door and after your scene was over and introduce yourself to, or did you already talk to her before you shot?
I talked to her beforehand. And you want to know what that was like?
Yes, of course.
Okay. So I have another little fun fact for you. So go back to the late 90s. Okay. And I was in a small theater group that actually my stepdad put together. And it was just a small group of just great, wonderful people. A lot of whom are still friends. One of whom is still one of my closest friends in life. And one of the shows that we did was a kind of interactive dinner show, not so interactive as a murder mystery where the audience has to do things, but they could be involved if they want to, they can say stuff. And the premise was that you were coming to the holiday party for a company called Lavco. And what Lavco does is they create the paddles that push pimentos into olives. And it's a comedy. And at this dinner party, after the first course, the CFO announced some troubling news about the financial well-being of the company. And people who were eating were stockholders and board members, and kind of talked about what should happen. The name of the show was Your Pink Slip is Showing. And the head of the company, the character name was John Lavatore.
Oh.
And John Lavatore was a very handsome, dapper, wonderful character, played by... I'm building up the...
I'm trying to... my head.
Played by one Mr. Julius Tenon.
No way.
And he was so good. He was hilarious. And have you ever met Julius?
No, either.
Okay.
No.
So okay. If you've seen Julius, of course, Viola's husband, next to her on the carpet and in the audience and all of these places, you may notice that he is always immaculately everything. And that is Julius. He looks like the model football player, actor, producer that he is. He is just lovely and perfect. And within the course of the show, all these things happen and all this Michigas goes down and they're going to maybe vote him out. And he starts getting drunk, the character drunk and rumpled and harried. And it's almost like, looks like he grows stubble. Of course he doesn't. And it's just a mess. And to see Julius like that was hilarious. And then in the end, everything works out and he gets his company back. And so it was this wonderful thing. But maybe a year or so after that, I had lost touch with Julius. So here I am driving to work on the first day. And part of me is, I'm thinking, okay, Deb, seriously, like, have you ever worked with someone larger than Viola Davis? I mean, seriously, like.
I haven't.
I'm driving there and I'm just so humbled, even in my car. I'm thinking, this is unreal. So I get there, and yes, we get to meet before the scene. So we go into hair and makeup, but then we meet over on the set. And I probably introduced myself, and she was lovely, and she's just what everybody tells you, just the real deal and down to earth and fantastic. And then I say to her, Bella, in theater with Julius, and I know and love Julius. And Niles, all I can tell you is when I said that, she loves him so much. They have the most unbelievable, beautiful marriage. They love each other so much. Not only do they love each other so much, but the fact that they make it work, and they've made it work for this long, and you always hear them talking about each other and seeing them together without, they still have their own, selves. I was thinking, to tell you this, I should say it would be like if you met someone blind and that person said to you like, oh, by the way, I love How to Get Away with Murder. And you'd be like, oh, kindred spirit, right? Let's talk. And I'm telling you, when I said, I know and love Julius, there was a look in her eye like, oh, you love the love of my life. I mean, it was like the thing. That's it. And then I felt like, oh, I'm in. Not that I wouldn't have been without that, but we talked so much, about him and those days. And that was before he had met her. And, it's hilarious because my friends and I, we would all say like, oh my God, like Julius's wife has been on Broadway. Julius's wife has won a Tony. Julius's wife is nominated for an Oscar. Did you see that? Did you see Julius on the red carpet with his we just kept saying, to us it was like also about Julius. And so I always wondered, how could I ever be reconnected with Julius? And so how about like, oh, well, maybe I could get a part on How to Get Away with Murder.
Wife.
and that's how it worked out. And I got to see him for the first time at the wrap party. And it was like magic. It was wonderful. And we've been in touch ever since.
Oh my God. I've never smiled more in my life. Oh, that's like the most incredible story. Oh my God.
Another neat, isn't it?
Another full circle, like you and Anthony working on that pilot, and then Star Trek conventions, keeping in touch, and then Julius, and then
yes. Damn. Exactly. I know. It was so neat. And Julie, I mean, at the wrap party, and Viola was so sweet. She was she was like, oh, let them do their thing. Julius was saying, John Lavatore was my name. He would love talking about the showing and bringing it up and how much fun we had and what a great group. And it was great. By the way, that whole wrap party was just like, I don't want to sound dramatic, but like seriously, one of the most fun nights of my entire life.
It looked like fun through all the pictures.
Yes, and if anyone watching, if they follow me on Instagram, Deborah Levin 7, there are a lot of pictures with there's a really good picture with Julius and Viola and cast pictures and stuff. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, and there's one with him actually on the set too. We weren't, I think we had to wait until after the episodes aired to post a picture with anybody. So whenever, if I worked with someone, I took pictures, but then I waited, especially because if you were in costume, there are very, very strict rules.
I would have found out who you were playing. I would have been all the clues if you.
Yes. And so at the wrap party, which was in February, and I just want to say that also my very best friend, my best gay boyfriend, flew out to come to the party with me. He lives in Chicago, but he was actually elsewhere. He's an attorney, and he does a lot of work for the LGBTQ community. And he had a very, very important event that he was speaking at somewhere. And it was very important and very lovely that he was doing, and that they asked him. And then they said and then there'll be a dinner. So will you stay? And he was like, oh no, like I have a major Hollywood party to go to. I have to go to LA. And so he came out here to LA. He got in that day, and oh man, ABC had sent like a car to come pick us up, and from the car went right to the red carpet, and from the red carpet I went right to Julius and Viola, and it was such a fun night. But back to your point, I most people there didn't know that I killed Asher.
Oh.
Right? So like obviously all the writers and producers
yeah, because it was in February. Yeah.
It was in, and that's boy, yeah. You do your research. It was in February, and that didn't air until April. And so I felt like, I wonder if they wonder why, like, I even get to come here.
What is Ensign Lang doing at our rep party?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I think by then, you probably remember better because, you know, there was the mid-season hiatus. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what had already aired, but some of the episodes already aired. Maybe before then?
The last thing we saw before the hiatus was just that Asher was the one dead. Like we didn't know who did it yet till after it came. Yeah.
But had those other episodes aired before February? I don't know.
No, it came back in March, I think. It was like a longer hiatus than usual.
Right. But my episodes before that had aired, right? I believe.
Yeah, the penthouse and all that, yeah.
And Bonnie's breaks, taking out Bonnie's breaks.
The breaks, girl. I don't forget that. Yeah, all that. Yeah. My bad.
Okay, so so that was all they knew. So for a long time, I knew this thing that I couldn't tell people. And on the other hand, I have to say, like they say, there are no small parts, because you could say like it was a small part. The fact that it was part of a storyline that
final season
played out so much. I mean, especially during that hiatus, the network, you know, there's so much who killed Asher.
Oh, your posts, yeah.
Amazing. That was very exciting.
And to like not like the last major character death, but like from that group of the kids, you know, like that was the last one to get taken out. So it was a really big role. Yeah.
Well, thanks. And also, you know, and for a time it was like, who killed Asher? Who killed Annalise? And I was like, well, actually,
I did the first one.
There's only one killer there. So
they tricked us with Annalise. Oh man, I'm just thinking about that Julius story. So cool.
Isn't that great? He's the best.
I always like their Viola's interviews when she's on Kimmel or Fallon, and she brings up Julius, and she does that voice for him.
Yeah,
like when she's telling a story, it cracks me up every single time when she like, V, what are you doing? It's so yeah. So that's what I was imagining when you met. Yeah, when you brought that up to Viola.
She didn't do the voice, but yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, she talks about him a lot because they have such a great marriage, and yeah. So that's a great thing about getting this role for me, is getting back in touch with Julius.
I was going to add a memorable moment. That would be a big one, yeah.
Yes.
And then some of your, before we get full blown into How to Get Away with Murder, some of your other roles was on the Will and Grace revival reboot, and then Two Broke Girls, 8 Simple Rules, all those. Do you have any favorite memories from those?
Well, I always say, actually, I was on the Boston Common pilot, and Boston Common was a show that starred Anthony Clark and Steve Paymer, and it was created by the guys who went on to create Will and Grace.
Oh, wow.
And so on that set, on the pilot, and then I ended up doing a couple more, I met that whole group, and then there are a bunch of sitcoms that follow that are from the Will and Grace creators. And Stevie Paymer and one of the creators specifically, David, these are just like lifelong, very, very, very close friends who I met on that pilot and I'm still very close with. And so for both professionally and personally, the whole Boston Common experience is a favorite because, you know, I still know these people. And yes, there's what else is on there that's theirs? Clipped, Good Morning Miami,
Oh yeah.
Four Kings, Will and Grace. So it was just, and by the way, I do want to say that for some of those things, like the most recent Will and Grace, the network and the studio did want everybody to audition. So it doesn't necessarily mean like, oh, you have a friend, so you're in.
Right.
But it doesn't hurt either, you know. Which I will say is one of the reasons I'm kind of really proud about How to Get Away with Murder, because I knew, I mean, I didn't have any connections there. I just had an audition.
Hey.
That was cool.
Right.
Yeah.
When did you find out that you were going to be on Will and Grace, or from them?
When did I find out I was going to be on?
Yeah, like,
is that the question?
Yeah.
I don't remember. It's funny how things get, but you know, I had an audition, and they had thought that I was on the original Will and Grace, which is kind of funny. I was like, no, that's like your one show I've never been on, which I would love to. So when the reboot came back, that was, I was really happy they had that reboot. There are a lot of Will and Grace fans, and I thought it was really good. I know reboot is kind of the thing right now.
Revivals.
Yeah.
It works for some, yeah, but
yes, I agree. It works for some. So I don't remember exactly when that was, a couple of years ago, maybe, but it was very, very fun to be on that show. Definitely.
Oof, queen. Oh man. And then I kind of wanted to touch on Star Trek a little bit before, one more time. You had 3 episodes, 2 in season 3 and then 1 in season 4. I kind of wanted to talk about the episode Displaced, when all the crew disappears throughout, and what was it like to take command of the ship and stun those, I don't know what those guys are called, but
they're called bad guys.
The bad boss, yeah.
Yeah. Were they Nerian scientists, or does that ring a bell? I don't know. I hope
they were going to like the habitats or something.
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Okay, those are great questions.
That sounds Star Trek-y, yeah.
All right, let's just go with that. I did rely on, you know, back to being trained in theater, stage combat, like falling. You know, I got
phased,
shot, stunned as well, and like to go down, and that I thought, oh, this is so much fun. Like I'm getting shot or stunned and falling on a set, so that was cool. You know, this is my honest answer. When I was on that set, I remember thinking, I am so happy that I am here and that I'm working, and this is great. And if by chance I were a huge Trekkie, which I'm not, this would be absolutely amazing. And at least like I get that, and I appreciate that fact. It was great to have what's that?
Bouncing off the walls and stuff, if you were a big Star Trek fan, like.
Yeah. I remember a friend of mine gave me a really good tip for the audition for the first episode, and then I didn't have to audition again because it was just the same character coming back. He said, just remember that all that techno mumbo jumbo that you're saying in this scene, in this audition, you say that all day, every day. So that has to just like roll off your tongue, like, oh, that's how you always talk. And
no second thoughts or anything. Yeah.
Exactly. Just like we're talking now. This is the language we're comfortable talking. It was such a good note. And I think that helped me, so that you're saying the stuff that, you know, is very technical, but it sounds very conversational, you know.
Kind of like when,
you know. It was fun. It was very, very, very fun. And I really didn't know at that time that it was going to have the legacy that it did. I mean, any Star Trek book, anything, it's been unbelievable. There's a fan wrote a novella kind of thing. I have to say, thank God.
Your character?
He chose
Voyager.
4 who he thought were like very attractive, I guess, women guest stars. And I remember reading it online, and it was the most bizarre feeling. Like, he's writing about my character. It was, thank goodness, it was pretty harmless. But yeah, very exciting, no matter what, to be a part of. I mean, if you think of it, what other thing is there that has TV shows and movies that has been in production with new things and has the following that it has since the original? That's a big deal. So yeah, wonderful to do those episodes, and lots of nice people, and really fun.
keeping the show going, like the excitement with the conventions and all that. Yeah.
Yes. And also, I will say too, anytime you get to work, same thing with How to Get Away with Murder, like on one of the, a Hollywood studio, like Star Trek is a Paramount, which is so much fun. And I did, I can't remember now if it was before or after Will and Grace, but before How to Get Away with Murder, there was a show on CBS for a while called Strange Angel that took place in the 40s. And streaming on CBS, and the costume fitting for that was in the Edith Head building at Paramount, one of the most famous, costumers. And I was actually trying on real 40s clothes. Like, some even had a label in it that said Warner Brothers. So you can imagine I was like freaking out, like it's just amazing. So that was a very fun thing about Star Trek. Also, talk about old Hollywood. Star Trek is the only job that I've ever had anything like this. This is classic old Hollywood. The producers were evidently very, very into hair. Now, I was a human, so I didn't have crazy funky hair like some of the characters did. But even for humans, they actually had me come in for a whole afternoon to go into the hair trailer and have different hairdos be done for me, and then photographed from every angle. They have to pay you to come in to do that. And it just seemed like, if this were the 40s and I were, on payroll, one of the actresses on payroll, I'd probably have to do something like this, hair tests. And that was something really fun about Star Trek, actually.
How many do you think you went? Do you remember how many you probably went?
I'm going to say 5 or 6, but it was a big deal because every single one had to be like deconstructed, if you will, maybe washed out, whatever. It was a long afternoon, but kind of fun.
Right? Just a little hair day. Spa day.
Yeah. Spa day. You don't have to memorize any lines.
And do you have any meeting Kate Mulgrew? Do you have any stories for that, or?
No, because I think I only worked with her, I want to say once, and it was pretty brief. She was really nice, but it was kind of, I want to say there were a lot of people in the scene and there was a lot going on. And I just remember that she was nice and really on her game and great. And I know she's a big draw at the conventions, which is super. She does those. Do you like her?
Oh yeah, Orange is the New Black was my streaming binge back in the day. Oh man, that's awesome. Yeah, she's nice. Oh man.
Yeah, she's nice.
Okay, I think we should jump over to Agent Pollock now.
Oh, good.
Sarah Gordon. Okay, audition. We already talked about that. Yeah. And I think you already. But did you know from the audition you were gonna be the one to kill Asher?
I didn't.
You didn't? Oh, wow.
I did not know that. By the way, that reminds me, one other cute anecdote you might like about Viola I was thinking about. One day I came in to work, and of course, every time they asked me back, I was so excited. And, the first thing is usually go into the hair and makeup trailer. And I can't remember when or which episode, but I was so happy, and I flung the door open and I bounced, and I was like, hi, everybody. And it was all hair and makeup people. And I think just Viola, was the only cast member in there. And, it was just this big, hi, how are you? Welcome back. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. How are you? What's going on? And Viola says, so sweet for a straight up damn murderer.
Oh my God.
which I thought was
I
really
can just
funny.
see her face saying that too.
Right?
Oh my.
For a straight up damn murderer.
Mm-hmm.
Hilarious. So no, I had no idea that I was going to murder Asher. None. I mean, you want to know how much I didn't know? They ended up cutting before, but in the scene outside of Annalise's apartment, um, they shot in the hallway as well. I don't think they ever used any of this footage. I think you only saw me through the peephole, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So we also shot in the hallway, like over my shoulder.
Oh,
but they didn't use any of that. And at the end of the scene, she's, and I say like, well, where is where I'm looking for? And she says, it's, turn around, it's on the other side.
Hall, yeah.
It's across the hall. And then I had that key because I was trying to put it in her door, and I turned to go put it in across the hall, and it was cut, and that was the end, as I'm like going to put it in across the hall. And at one point somebody said, but of course you don't go in there because that's not the key for that. And I was like, right. I thought, I didn't know that. I didn't, you know what I mean? Like I seriously didn't know that. One of the writers knew that, but I had no idea.
Right.
I only knew what you would know. That was the only script I had read watching at that moment, that I wasn't even staying across the hall.
Or as you said, like as Sarah Gordon would say that, like, I'm looking for the penthouse, like maybe that's how she would actually physically go and try to open that door, like kind of like the same thing.
Exactly. Yeah, that it's to that extent. Absolutely.
That would have been cool to see those shots too.
Yeah. I had luggage and everything.
With full of fire pokers probably in the luggage. No clothes.
And by the way, right. That scene too, I mean, I can't overstate enough, and I know some of the other people you've had on have said too, even in a short scene, working with Viola, she is so real. It's almost like you don't have to act. You listen to her, you hear what she's saying, you open up and you respond. She's unbelievable. She is that good. Like, you can't believe that she's saying lines that she memorized. You know what I mean? And she's in her spot where she's under the light and she blah, blah, blah. Incredible.
I don't know how she does some of those emotional scenes, and like almost every episode, kind of sometimes she has some really long monologues or hitting a pillow or like, it's crazy. Yeah.
And she's just so believable and so good. I love that whole little thing that she had. I thought, oh, this is like such a great moment for her character. She's on the phone and she gets the gun and she's yelling, who are you? Get away. Go away. And then she comes back and does like, I'm just some idiot. Hilarious. Right. I just so good.
I love all this.
And then actually it was later that night that we shot the scene with the phone, talking to Mr. Castillo.
Gerardo. Oof.
Yeah.
He might be coming on the show soon.
Oh, that would be great.
He is filming that new national park show, so maybe if he has a free weekend, I think maybe
that would be super. My fingers are crossed for you. For all good people. So then, at that point, all I thought was I was Sarah Gordon. That's all I knew. And yes, I had no idea I was going to kill Asher.
Damn. And did you watch the show at all before you auditioned for it? Oh, girl.
But look what I have to look forward to. Well, no, I didn't. But as soon as I knew I booked it, I started watching.
From the beginning, yeah.
Well, no. At least, season 6. I haven't watched 1 through 5. But I have it to look forward to. Think of it that way.
Send me your thoughts when you watch.
I felt horrible when I heard you asking someone else. I thought, oh my gosh, she's going to ask me and I feel so bad. But no, as soon as, whether it was the audition or booking it, it's great to kind of watch and get a feel for the show and see what the style is.
Tone.
And as far as like, do you want to know when I knew that I was going to kill Asher?
Yeah. Please.
Okay. Well, I think this is okay if I say, because some stuff I've been told, like, don't say. But one of our second ADs, the best second ADs on the show, Maroney and Tony texted me one day, and I kind of want to ask Demain. He might have been with Demain. Demain Davis directed the Reckoning, the episode where I killed Asher. And by the way, P.S. I cannot say enough about Demain Davis, who is the most kind, selfless, down-to-earth, cool. She and I have stayed in touch. We met, we have stayed in touch. She is unbelievable. She has helped me personally, professionally. She is a love. She is as cool as she can be, but she is the real deal. I told her you would ask me to do this, and she was like, oh, you got to do it. She is just, I am so grateful to have met her. I hope everybody's watching Clarice and
CBS,
yeah, and a lot of good things have come from this show, and one is certainly meeting Demain, who was, I mean, and she's so good. She's such a good director. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself, but I think maybe she was with Tony when he texted me, and he sent me this adorable text one day, and he said something like, hey, I'm just saying, not for sure, but just putting it out there, like, if you had to swing something over your head, it was maybe like, I don't know, the weight of a, I don't know, golf club. Could you do that? I was like, oh my gosh, I wonder why they're asking me. So I didn't want to get too excited. And I said, yes, I absolutely can. And he said, okay, and just like hypothetically, oh my, could you do that with either your right hand or your left hand? And like I told you, I'm a huge Cleveland Indians fan. So I have this Bitmoji of me in a like Cleveland cap swinging a bat. And I just sent it back and I was like, yes. And he sent something back like, the director and I are cracking up. So I didn't know, but I thought, and you know, you want to be very professional and just sort of, okay, just gonna, they asked me that question. And plus, wait for it, and things change all the time, right? So just because you're being asked, that doesn't mean anything. And look, when I booked the first episode, they told my agent it's likely to recur. Is she going to be in town through
so-and-so? Yeah,
through so-and-so. And even that, you have to feel like, oh my gosh. But just like any business, and certainly show business, you never know.
Right.
So I had to kind of let it go. I found out when I was reading that script, you know, I got that script, we would get them sent to us. And I remember, back to Scotty, who came to the rap party with me, he was texting me one night. I was like, Scotty, I just got the script. I got to read the script. And he kept texting me. And and I was like, Scotty, don't text me right now. I'm finding out who kills Asher. And he was like, I remember he wrote back, KK, like he couldn't wait to hear either. And I sat there reading it like you would read a great novel. And he was like, oh my gosh, it's me. Like, I'm a murderer? Are you kidding me? This is unbelievable. And then you think like this unbelievable thing. And then you get to, after that, in the FBI office. And all of a sudden, Agent Denise Pollock walks in. Okay. So I will tell you that at the table read for that episode, it was not the lovely, wonderful Inda who wrote the episode, but one of the other writers was sitting next to me. She was reading actually for Cicely Tyson. And she made a joke about, like, she said to me something like, oh, no pressure, I just have to read for Cicely Tyson. And she was very sweet. And I said to her before we read, I said, can I ask you a question? And she said, sure. And I said, I'm not clear on, like, who am I? And am I, like, what's my deal? Am I good? Am I Sarah? Am I Denise? Like, I seriously didn't know. And she said to me, you are really, do you know the answer to this, Niles?
Denise, right?
Yes, yes, you are really Agent Denise Pollock. You are an FBI agent. And at some point,
They
uh,
gotcha.
the Castillos came to you and they hired you to do this. And I thought for a second and I said, okay, that's so helpful. I said, have you seen The Departed? She said, yes. Have you seen The Departed?
I
No.
haven't. No, 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 no.
Oh,
Not
okay.
yet.
So you won't really get this, but hopefully a lot of your viewers will without
I'm
giving
kind
too
of getting,
much
real quick, I'm kind of getting flashbacks to your ear right now on camera because
away.
you had that little clip in your ear. So I'm
Oh,
like
the ear
looking,
cuff.
yeah, I'm looking at your ear right now and I'm getting
I,
flashbacks.
I thought about that when I put these earrings on. I thought, oh, I should wear an ear cuff. Anyway, so your viewers who know The Departed will appreciate. I said to her, I am Matt Damon in The Departed because he's a rat in the police department. And she said, you are Matt Damon in The Departed. I said, I'm a rat in
Exactly.
the FBI. And she said, that's right. And then Wardrobe and I always had these jokes. Like I
Oh
would
my
try on
God.
Denise Pollock uniforms. I'd be like, is this Matt Damon? Does this look like Matt Damon? Like we'd
How
always
about
want to
this?
be like,
I gotta watch that now.
um, but that, yes, watch it. It's great. But I mean, I didn't know. Like I really didn't know the story. And William and I talked a lot too about like, does he know about me? Does he not know about me? You know, that's a whole interesting dynamic.
Yeah.
What does he know? Um, and I, I will say too, one of the things I was really excited about doing this podcast with you is because people have said to me, did you get away with it?
Oh yeah, because
And I can tell you some of the things that people have said, but I think it's kind of open and I'm curious as to what you think
yeah,
because you know the last time you see me is I'm handcuffed
in
and
the in the yeah, in the room,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And I've had some people say like, "Oh yeah, well that shows like you're going straight to jail." And then I've read or had actually a good friend of mine said, "There's no way you're going to jail." And I said,
Oof.
"Why?" And he said, "Because then the FBI would have to admit that they made a mistake and had a murderer working for them. And what? They just didn't know, they didn't catch on. They clearly send you off to some like small country where you have to stay for 10 years." So
Oh,
I know
dang.
what you're
Yeah.
writing is for Amira and not me, and it's a prequel, but I'm just
Oh.
throwing it out there that there's a lot of question about like,
Where is Denise
did I
Bar?
get away with it? But do you think I do or don't?
I didn't think about that. Like, I always thought that the FBI wouldn't let her get away with it, but then I didn't think about like they wouldn't admit that they had um someone in the inside, a mole from the inside. So I don't know. I don't because I feel like the FBI is already gonna get because Nate admitted everything on the stand that an FBI agent killed Asher. So I kind of think maybe Denise still went down for it because he said that on the stand, you know. So maybe
Right.
they couldn't let her go for it. Maybe,
Yeah, maybe.
but
Yeah.
that would be a good spinoff. You can pick the country you want to go to, and I can. Dang, yeah.
You know, Niles, you know, if there's a spinoff, I'd be pretty comfortable with any country.
I'll think of. We can do like a Google Earth has like a I'm feeling lucky button. We can just press it and see where it spins us or something.
Right. And hopefully
Damn.
it'll be somewhere beautiful.
Hope not no winter or snowy.
Right. Great cocktails.
Damn. Oh man. And then yeah, how was it playing a villain? That was one of my you already brought that up. That's crazy though that you never played like this is your first kind of like
Yeah, and
did
just
you
thank goodness for Domain, who made it easy
I
for
can't wait
me.
till she comes on
Is she
for
going
this.
to?
Yes. And I think she said May because she's doing Clarice right now. So
Yeah, I cannot wait to
only
watch
a month
her.
away.
I
Yeah.
can't wait.
I'm
Yeah.
so excited.
But you know, it was crazy. It was fun. You know, I was thinking I wanted to ask her. Matt and I had um body doubles for that
Oh, dang.
for that. Um, so I guess most anytime there's a murder like that on the show, it's a very, very, very long day. And it was a really long day. There's a lot that's shot so that they have all kinds of stuff to work with, and then they can put it together however they want to. And I meant to ask Domain, I think, but I'm not sure, that maybe they didn't use any of the footage with the doubles because those were all very long shots. And I don't recall seeing, it would look like you're seeing Matt and me, but from far away. And so sometimes when she was like really swinging away at him, like when Matt and I were doing it, when I was hitting something with my might, it was like a not a bag of potatoes, but like a bag of something. Like Matt was not there on the ground anytime that I was swinging. And when Matt was on the ground, like maybe it was up over my head, but I wasn't swinging. And it's, all cut to look like I'm hitting him. But the professional people did do some of that stuff, but I don't know if they were, if they ended up being in there or not. And it's fun. I mean, I really felt it afterwards because there was a lot of swinging of the poker. Matt took this great, he took a picture of me from below, which was hilarious. He took a great selfie, just goofing around of me behind him with the poker. I don't know, but it was when I dropped the poker and walked away, that was the moment I was kind of thinking Cagney. Like he would just be like,
done.
Out.
Start the car.
Start the car. Just out. Just like out.
Go eat dinner or something.
Yeah.
Did you watch any scary horror movies to get in the mood for
No, because I felt like I just want to be completely open to whatever Domain wants. And she is so kind. After every single take, she would come to me and she would always start with something positive. Okay, that was great. Now, blah, blah, blah. And at first you think like, is she just being nice? But then I thought, no, I don't think she is, because now she would ask for something totally different. So she obviously got what she wanted in that one. It's amazing. I love for people to know who see something that's like really fast, that really that was all day, doing just that, and the going down the steps, and the, trying to get that camera angle for Rome, like, under the door.
I love that.
Ear cuff. Like, it's tricky, and there were a few more lines in the office when he saw me. I said something along the lines of, something about, do you mind telling us why it's taking you so long to come and tell us who it is?
Oh.
Yeah. And, anyone who works knows very often you're going to get stuff cut because they overshoot purposefully and then they have to cut for timing. And the way it was cut, it worked perfectly, even without those lines, because when I asked him that, like, what took so long? Why are you doing it now? He had this horrified look on his face, and that's what they used just after he saw the ear cuff and made that connection. One other thing I want to tell you about Amira, which I thought this is so cute, you'll appreciate. In the table read, I don't think it's when I killed Asher. I think it's when William said, hang on, I want to get my lead agent in on this case. And I say, you wanted to see me? I think that's when she had this huge audible reaction. She was like, oh my God. I mean, it was huge. And it was so adorable, because afterwards she said, like, she said, I have never not read a script before a table read in my life. Never. I had no idea. And it was so rewarding, because I thought, like, wow, this is what the reaction's going to be. And then later, I thought you'll appreciate this too. I went into the hair trailer that night because they were doing things with my hair to try to make it look from far away like Laurel.
Mm-hmm.
That
was tricky.
That was tricky. So anyway, she was in there, and I said, that was so cool that you like audibly reacted. And she said, it was so cute. She said to me, you know what, actually there's one other time that I didn't read a script. Just one, like, it was so important for her to like get that honest, thing out there. Yeah. And she just said, oh my God, what a great twist. I would have never seen that coming. So also to prepare for this, I rewatched your reaction video
No.
of Asher getting killed and then me coming in.
Oh my God, my reaction.
No, and you did say in that video, you were saying, oh my God, it was the FBI. But it was, but it kind of wasn't, right? Because the FBI didn't know.
Yeah, it was yeah, true. Yeah.
But at that moment, I mean, that's how good the writing is, right? Like you don't even.
And Gabriel was
like I say, I didn't know.
And then Gabriel's like, the FBI did it, or I'm like, what? Because I'm glad they did it. Like, I'm glad they didn't have like Bonnie or Frank or one of the other kids kill Asher. I'm glad it was someone else. Like, I'm glad it was someone new. Like,
well, that's sweet of you. I do think some people kind of hoped maybe it was a more major character, but I think at least with a minor character, hopefully it was more of a surprise.
And yeah, and the FBI being, and then they take the deal with the FBI, and you're like yelling at your TV, like, no, they, yeah, true,
yeah.
Oh my God, Amira is awesome too. Like, oh, girl, she might be on too. Just
really
a little tease, yeah.
You know what? I feel like people aren't going to believe me because I'm sitting here saying like, oh, she's amazing. She's amazing. I'm not kidding. It's such a good group of people. Justin, our prop man, who I know you stay in touch with, he reached out to me. He said, oh, you're going to do the podcast. He is such a good prop guy. Can I tell you? He is unbelievable and a sweetheart. It was very, very, very quick. But did you see where I like snuck in to get the poker?
Yeah, after you were watching the cameras, yeah.
Yes, so super, super, super fast. You don't even see this, but he got me the thing that you use to pick a lock that you would use to go into a door with that type of doorknob, and explain to me how it works, how you would do it, so that I would know how I would take it out off camera as I was opening the door.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, really good, and yet as sweet and fun and wonderful and down to earth as he could be.
Yeah, we talk a lot, so he's awesome. Yeah,
great. Talk about going to work far away. You know, he's got a good setup right now.
Yeah, I'm jealous. Yeah, it's nice here today, but it's been raining.
It's not Hawaii.
Nothing compared, right? I've never been to Hawaii.
You gotta go.
You've been there?
Yes, I've been. Yeah, I've been to Kauai once. It's very relaxing. Once it's safe to travel. Yeah.
I got both of my shots, so
good. I got one.
Yeah. When do you get your?
On my way.
When do you get your second?
On the 30th.
The 30th. Oh, still.
Yeah, I just got my first one. It's tough in LA, but I got it.
Still, yeah. Damn.
Yeah.
I work at an elementary school, so I got the first tier for the vet. I was happy. Yeah.
Excellent.
So many good stories you're telling. I really appreciate all these behind the scenes moments.
Oh, good. Yeah, I wanted to give you some good scoop.
Oh man. And then like piecing all the events together for Asher's. How much fun was that? Watching the camera. Was that actually you in the car watching those?
Yes, it was me in the car.
I don't think we saw your face. I think it was just like the hands and the tap. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's something else really cool that actually was cut. So the camera was on my face, and I think Demain said the original thought was they were going to do one of those like swoop up to my face. But I was looking at just an iPad that was off.
Oh,
I wasn't looking at anything. And okay, I got another cute inside scoop for you. I hope Demain watches this.
I hope so.
She was, because there was no sound, there was a walkie-talkie next to me, just like when I took Bonnie's brakes out. And there was another time I drove too, but you didn't. Oh no, I just got out of the car before the coffee cup thing. Remember?
Yeah.
Of course you do. Anyway, so there was a walkie-talkie in the car next to me, and she was just giving me adjectives of the expression, you know, like whatever they were, angry, quizzical, curious, all these different things of what she wanted the expression to be. But she wanted it very, 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 very small and and believable. And she gave me a word and I was like, I don't know what the hell that means. And I didn't want to ask. And I thought, well, she said small, so I'll just keep doing everything small. And it never came up. But it was fun. I had a few things like that. Like, do you remember I was in the car, also in the garage?
Watching them, yeah.
Yes, watching them, like right before the opening credits. Bonnie's breaks, like some fun things.
I love when you pull up next to Bonnie in the car and you're like, oh no, there she is. Like,
yeah,
so
like it's kind of fun when you have scenes that you don't have lines in. Like I don't know, it's just fun because a little less pressure. By the way, we reshot one night those pictures that Billy shows of me at the scene of before I took out Bonnie's brakes.
Oh, remember the street camera? Yeah.
He shows, exactly. Well, that wasn't from that scene. I had to go in one night, get into hair and makeup and wardrobe.
Oh my God.
A long time after that, at the studio to match, they shot like far away in through the windshield to take those pictures.
Oh my God.
And I mean, it was so funny because I was like in the same shoes, like you're even going to see the shoes. And and it was just interesting. They had to match it up because there wasn't something good that they could use from that footage of him showing the picture.
That is so cool. The same shoes and everything, right? Yeah. I love how they do that. All the details, like something you never see. And
yeah,
I love that scene though when you pull up in Bonnie next to Bonnie and give her that look, and then she cried. Oh, girl.
I know. Sorry. Isn't she good?
Yeah. Liza. And you. Oh man. And then I kind of wanted to touch on all your behind the scenes pictures with Rome and I forget how to pronounce her name, but Inda. Yeah.
The writer. Oh my God, so sweet. How lucky am
Gerardo I? And
yeah, talk about a tough name to pronounce. Yeah. Rome, I said to Rome, I don't know, like for people who follow him on social media, I said, you know what? Your image, like, and you are like the coolest person in the world, but you're a teddy bear.
Oh.
He really is. He is the sweetest. I mean, when you're with him, he's so sweet. And I think he's a really, really good actor. I mean, that scene when we were making eye contact and he saw it was me and I was like, what do you have to say? I mean, he was good. He was really, really, really good.
And I love the shot in Domains when he sees Asher being with the poker and it's like that wide shot of him standing by the door and then he peeks under. Yeah. It's just such a good. I love everything about that scene too.
Isn't that cool?
He seems really nice. Yeah. I just wanted to ask
really,
about him.
really, really nice. Yeah. Can he do this podcast?
Maybe.
We'll see. Okay.
I hope so. Put in a good word for me.
I will.
Oh man. And then do you have any favorite of Agent Pollock scenes that you shot? Any favorite one?
Gosh, that's a great question. Well, I mean, first I was gonna say, well, it's not Agent Pollock, but it is Agent Pollock. We know now. I mean, this definitely the scene with Viola. I just working with her and that exchange and listening to her and that for sure. I loved this stuff with Matt before I kill him because it was one of the few times that I could kind of go to my sort of like sweet person comfort zone.
Like, where do you want to go? I'll take you. I'll wait for you. Yeah.
Yeah. And we did, like Demaine can tell you, we did a bunch that were more or less sweet, but it was just really fun. Like, that's just comfortable for me to be like, yeah, and warm and just to get to work with Matt. I had not met him before that scene. And
another teddy bear, probably, yeah.
just so kind.
Mm.
And I told him, I said, I want to tell you something. I said, a lot of people on this show, like crew people and hair and makeup people, have mentioned to me, like, oh, wait till you meet Matt. He's just like one of the best people here. He is so kind and he speaks so eloquently and he's so lovely and he's so down to earth. And he said, wow, thanks for telling me that. And I said, yeah, that's your reputation around here. And I was really excited to meet him because I mean, I don't know. Think about it. Like, I'm gonna kill him, and he's a series regular, and I don't know. It's
Been
part
there
of
since the beginning.
yeah, yeah. He was absolutely wonderful, and he's kind of quiet. He read a lot. There's a lot of sitting around while they change camera angles. He taught me the great trick to like at one point they got us food and he said, like, I always nap on my actual breaks and then eat in between takes so that way, like, I have good time to like nap because sometimes you have really long days. So yeah, he was just great. When I was so happy when I saw him at the wrap party. That was really, really fun.
The wrap party. Oh man. And then I think I was gonna ask your most memorable moment, but probably the Julius thing, probably at the wrap party, probably for your overall on the show.
Yeah, well, okay. So you want to know the most memorable moment at the wrap party,
or like your whole experience on the show, maybe, or both? Yeah, I can't pick.
I can't either. I can't even. I don't know. I'm honest when I tell you, I feel so lucky. I mean, there's experience and there's talent, but there's so much of it that's luck. It's the right place, the right time. I mean, to be on a show like this, to recur, to be part of a major plot line in such a huge way, to reconnect with Julius and to, we've already said, like, okay, once it's safe, we're all hanging out together. And like, that's unbelievable to work with.
So much fun.
Right. And to work with Viola, and yes, the wrap party, to meet people like Domain, who I just feel like, I don't know. I just feel this, all those things, all the kind of like human side of it are what's the most important, because I think all of the tragedies of the past year or so have shown us that there is nothing more important than the good people in your life and love, yes, and health and the relationships and kind of weeding out what's not good and healthy for you and so appreciating what is. And that's anything from meeting new people or coming back in touch with people who are just such good, down to earth, wonderful, loving, no BS people. Like, the older you get, the more you see that's what it's all about, man. And to have that in your life, and if you can be part of a show that brings people joy and escape during something so horrible, amazing. So I don't know, however you encapsulate all those things I just said, those are all my favorite.
Beautiful. Oh man. I feel lucky to have you on the podcast, and
you're so nice. And we are so lucky to have you. I agree with everything everybody has said. You have no idea. I mean, everyone just says to have someone who's as huge of a fan that we don't feel uncomfortable with. I mean, Niles, I want to be careful how I say this because I don't want to scare my mom who's going to watch this, but I've had people like on social media say pretty mean things to me because I killed Asher.
Oh my God. It's a character, like, like, separate it, like.
Right. And to know that you can have this kind of passion, and you are just a good, nice mensch that you are, is just, it's lovely. And of course people want to reach out and help and, like do the podcast. But I am so honored, and I am so grateful that you asked me. That it really, really makes me feel good. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Oh man, that means a lot. Oh my God, don't cry. Oh man. And then any future projects we have looking forward you have coming up?
No, nothing for sure. Nothing set. I do voiceover work as well. I've been working on a something for Netflix, but that's just in-house. So I'll say that. And we'll see when things get, more back into production. I very, very much look forward to future projects. I can't wait. I'm ready.
For Netflix, my bad. You said for Netflix, yeah. Oh man, I'm ready too, girl. I need new material. I need a new show to watch.
Yeah, I hear you. It'll all come back. It's starting. It's getting better.
I can see the light. Right? Oh man. Okay, but I think that's a good place to end it. Thank you for your kind words and for coming on and talking with us. And
my pleasure.
So many awesome stories. Oh my God.
Thank you. I was nervous. I thought, I got to do a good job because he's so incredible. So hopefully there were some good anecdotes. Thank you so much for asking me.
No problem. Maybe you can come back another
time.
I will.
Okay, I'll come back. I'll think of some more stuff.